Okay. All right. Okay. I think we should be okay. Hey guys. Uh, Thanks for introducing me to Eric yesterday. He has a new fan. Yeah, I mean, I I just heard him for the first time yesterday too. So that was, or not yesterday, but when I recorded the video. So that was pretty cool. Uh Ready for the holidays. Yeah, oh man. Man. The holidays are always a very weird time for me. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the holiday season. I get to spend time with my family. It's a lot more relaxed, at least in the political climate of my milieu. So that's very refreshing. But this year, I don't know. This year just doesn't feel like the holidays for me for some reason. It just feels a little bit more. I guess just a little stressful, more stressful than normal. So I'm just trying to keep everything together and enjoy the ride. Uh, Baking Christmas cookies. Ooh, that sounds wonderful. uh, cool. Am I was I unhearable? Uh, okay. Well, I don't see anything wrong with my stuff. But I think we should be okay. I commented that I was surprised that it was the first time you'd heard of Eric. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I have not heard a lot of Skid Row. I've heard the name in passing, but I haven't really heard the music before. And if I have, then I don't know any of the song titles, and I'd have to hear the music to actually know if I've heard it or not. Um, but no, I had a great time listening to him. I thought he was great. um, like I really enjoy a lot of different types of music, even if I don't necessarily know the backstory of the artist or the intention of the song or whatever. I just like the ride. I really dig it. Uh, we all drive to Jeff Castellucci's house. I think that is a really bad idea. I'm sure he wouldn't want that. And for me as well, I don't know. It would be cool to meet him, but it has to be a more organized setting. uh, he was the other part of the metal trifecta. Yeah. I've heard a lot of comments about that, saying he that he completes it, and I think that that is awesome. I'm rounding myself out. Do you celebrate both Christmas and Hanukkah? I do. So Hanukkah this year actually begins on Christmas Day, or Christmas night, I should say, and it goes into January 2nd. So, but I don't do the whole gift giving thing on Hanukkah. My family and I, we all do uh, gift giving on Christmas itself, and then we just enjoy our time together and light the candles. The candles. What the heck is that? We light the candles on Hanukkah throughout the 7 days. But that being said, I how do I phrase this? to put it as simply as possible, because this is a multi-day conversation that I can have on this subject. I While I myself am not particularly tied to any one religion, I find a lot of great inspiration in how I build my morals, my character, my ethics, my principles as a human being, uh, through lived world experience and uh, foundational structure commonly found in a myriad of different religions. So I ultimately just find a lot of utility and uh, craft myself based off of a lot of different elements that I've been exposed to. Like most people do, I just create a stronger, more targeted awareness of it. And with all of that said, that doesn't mean that I enjoy the holidays any less. I absolutely love them, and I love being able to celebrate them with loved ones. He was the lead singer for HEAT. Yeah, I heard about that. That's not even a group that I've even heard in passing before, so I should be sure to listen to that at some point. Uh, I give all you guys your cookies, but we make voice play saying we wish you a Merry Christmas to get theirs. Thomas the Moose gets his dog. I'm a little confused. uh Thank you for a great reaction to Eric. Yeah, absolutely. He was really cool to listen to. I was really glad to be a part of that journey. Well, to start the journey, I should say. Uh, hey, Hanukkah has cookies linked to it. I'm a devout cookie-tarian. Are there cookies? I guess I guess cookies were never a part of my family's tradition for Hanukkah. I'm trying to remember if there were. If there were, it wasn't in my immediate household, but that I should get on that. I'm not much of a baker, though. I can bake. It's just I'm not the best at it. Um, I have a BFF that is Jewish, so we'd celebrate both holidays when we were kids. I feel I got very blessed celebrating both. Our Savior celebrated Hanukkah, so my childhood was wonderful. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of beauty in Hanukkah. Not just in terms of the origin of Hanukkah and understanding what that means, but honestly, I this will sound a little weird, but um, each member of my family has a menorah, even if that member of the family isn't Jewish, and we all take turns lighting the candles for each day, and I love looking at the fire. It's so hypnotic and mesmerizing, and it's just so beautiful just to say, we have it here, and the fire is all lit up, and it reflects something beautiful, uh and it's just dazzling. Like even if you're not focused on the religious aspect of it, just in terms of a physical sense, it's very dazzling and majestic to look at. I find a lot of beauty in that. Eric is in remission from leukemia. Oof. I can only imagine the kind of struggle in that. Oh my gosh. Wishing him the best in that recovery, man. Um, but yes. So something that I want to talk about in terms of the future of these live streams is I recently got hired for a job, which is awesome, but my work schedule is very, very up in the air. Uh, I'm most likely going to be working early mornings, which probably means I'm going to be working 4:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Uh, or uh, or something like that. It's most likely that that's going to fluctuate and change over time, but that's what it looks like right now. And the days of the week that I get put on many of those shifts is going to be inconsistent. I might get put on 6 a.m. maybe to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 2:30. um, but it it's going to be fluctuating for a little while, um, at least until I can establish this company doesn't necessarily focus on seniority, which is really nice. It's not uh, part of a labor union, I don't think. But at the same time, it's uh, I need to give myself time to build a presence and a reputation. So before I can actually start requesting, these are the days that I need off, and in order to have a more consistent live stream schedule. All of this is to say that my live streams are going to start being a little inconsistent. I'm going to still try to make them once a week, but to make them every single time Thursday at 1300 or 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is going to be challenging. I don't have a lot of say, especially as someone just getting hired into the company, as to say, these are the days and times that I'm going to take off. No, I got to work into that. So uh, it's going to be a little all over the place. I will try to make community posts about it to say, hey, I'm planning on making a live stream for the following day when I know, or if I know the schedule a week or two in advance, I will try to plan it out accordingly. Obviously, if things come up, I will absolutely let you guys know. But I really want to make sure that everything that I'm working on is focused, targeted to the ultimate overall goal, but I'm still being honest and reasonable to you guys. I want to make sure that I am still making a live stream a week, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm gonna give you guys community posts about it, and we'll just take it a step at a time. You know, that's all we can do, right? Let me look at stuff. I'd go to the local Jewish bakery and bring a poppy seed roll to the family holiday. Oh, that's awesome. Sounds like a Starbucks kind of place. Well, it's definitely a cafe. Yeah. For those that don't know, I love being a barista. I love the routine. I love the people that I meet. As much as I'm not a morning person, I really do enjoy waking up in the morning early, not just to get started on the day and making a nice cup of coffee just to work into the morning, but another goal that I had, which has been on again, off again kind of thing, but it's something that I still reflect on a lot, which is opening my own cafe, because I've learned a ton about the coffee harvesting process, the roasting process, coffee tastings. I really love different types of tea, and I just love engaging with people. Like, for those that don't know, a really, really big thing about me is I really want to travel the world, learn as many languages as I can, and meet as many different types of people as possible, ultimately be able to understand different cultures, different people's views on life, how those people view different senses of morality or ethics, or how they structure their life in accordance to their milieu, in accordance to what they want for themselves, or how they conform to the societal standards. So, or proprieties for that matter. So, all of these things are things that I'm very, very interested about. Ultimately, I would love to be able to bridge gaps between groups of people that think that working with another group of people whose views about something are antithetical to their own, I would love to be able to bridge gaps in that kind of thinking. So meeting people from all walks of life and all different philosophies on life and how they engage with life, and listening with an open mind and an open heart is something that I really, really value as a person. So, and I often get a lot of flack for that because I'm not sticking to a side of an issue, even if I have a personal opinion about an issue or a political whatever or anything. Uh, I'll try to keep that to myself as much as I can and have an open mind and an open heart when engaging in conversation with someone else. I usually try to have them tell me as much as possible, while if they ask me for my points of view, I'll provide it. But overall, and it also depends on the person I'm talking to. If I don't think they can handle it, then I won't say much. But overall, I try to I try to learn as much as I can and try to understand where people are coming from and why they're so resistant to other schools of thought, so I can better reflect on that in the evening and uh, take it with me for future encounters. So, with that being said, I'm really happy that I got a job as a barista, and I told my hiring manager saying, you know, if I get hired, I want you to know that I'm only going to be a barista for a very limited amount of time because I have every intention on moving through the company rapidly. And she really loved that. She really loved that by saying, I think that's amazing. We have an entire district of cafes where if there isn't a position available at this location, you can go to another location and uh, get promoted there and develop your skills there and keep promoting. And that's something really valuable to me. I really, really want to learn and talk to more people, and have the opportunity to uh, be financially independent. Because YouTube just ain't paying the bills, baby. But I'm still having a fun journey with all of this. I get the opportunity to go back into the coffee world, which I'm excited for. Like I mentioned, I really love the process and the routine of making coffee. Um, just grinding, tamping, weighing, pulling the shot, making the perfect microfoam, latte art, that whole shebang, and just building rapport with customers and people that come in. I really do. I love that kind of process and journey. Um, we'll see you when we see you. I gave up punching a time clock years ago. It is what it is. Shit happens. Yeah, I mean, I really don't have as much of an issue with it, especially if it's voluntary. Um, like, to the people who might feel forced into that kind of position, I completely understand, and I was definitely on that boat. But when I became a little bit more self actualized and started saying, this is what I want to do, um, then I really stopped having an issue with it. It's kind of like the idea of going to school as a grind, but the moment you get a passion for learning, all of a sudden school feels fun, kind of thing. But it, it's weird. um, until they can call and say, hey, so and so didn't come in, can you? I mean, I've definitely experienced that at every single job I've had, not just in the cafe world, but in every job. And, if you can, you can, and you get those extra hours and you build a stronger rapport with your managers. And if you can't, then that's what the situation is. They don't expect you to, but they sincerely hope that you can, obviously, because the more short-staffed you are, the more challenging the shift, and the later people have to be pushed back in terms of their breaks, and it becomes a whole nightmare for whoever's running the shift, and customers get upset because there's not as many people on board, and it's just a whole nightmare. So, you know, I've been called many times on my days off to get in shifts, and if I can, I will, and if I can't, I won't. Or if there's a particular day that I really need to myself because I either have plans or I really just need to spend time by myself, then I'll do that. It's just it's just how it goes. I try to plan my life in accordance to my not just in accordance to my schedule, but maintain areas of free time saying these are the times that I'm taking off. This is unnegotiable, and they accept that. So that is what it is. Uh, Maybe take a holiday break and start after the new year. I'm actually starting just before the new year, which is a little interesting, but I'm really excited just to get the ball rolling. Absolutely. In terms of a holiday break, no. um, I very rarely, if ever, actually, I really don't take vacations. um, it's very rare that I ever do, and the last one I took was, I want to say, uh, 2, 3 years ago. And before that, it was another like 3 years before that, maybe 4. And I don't know if I'd really call those vacations, more just odd excursions that I don't get to experience a lot. But I just, I don't know. I love just seeing where life takes me, which is why I don't really have a problem having impulses and just following those impulses wherever they take me. But also at the same time, like something I really enjoy doing on Fridays as a part of my day off is in the mornings, I head over to a cafe. Instead of just making coffee at home, I go over to a cafe, I set up a chess set, and I just read. And if there's anybody that would either like to play a game of chess, and I also have a note at the end of the chessboard saying, we can play a couple of games, but I would more than anything love the opportunity to talk to you and get to know you as a person, understand your life a little more. And more often than not, I do get some people who are very awkward and really don't want to talk. They just see the chessboard and like, can we play? And I'm like, of course. I'd love the opportunity to play with someone, especially if it means they get a little bit of social interaction. I do as well. And we get the opportunity to talk and enjoy each other's time. But more than anything, the chessboard is an eye-catching tool that gets people to say, oh, this person is a little bit interesting. Let me talk to him. And I met some really interesting people through just going to a cafe, setting up a chessboard, not playing chess with them at all, but actually engaging in meaningful conversation. I think I mentioned this in my last live stream that this last time I set up my chess set, I met or maybe I didn't because I think it was last week. Ooh. I met a Latina and Iranian woman, and they were both really good friends, and we had a pretty substantial conversation that lasted over an hour. And we were talking about what we studied in school. We were talking about our views on spirituality and religion. We were talking about our views on the philosophies of how we engage in our own lives and what music means to us, what the arts mean to us, what different industries mean to us, even industries that we don't necessarily engage with. And it was really wonderful. At the end of it, I gave them an email if they ever wanted to reach out and continue the conversation. I never expect people to reach out when I give them the email, but I really enjoyed that conversation. And there was another time I went to a breakfast place that's not too far away from me, and I didn't even have the chest set out. I was just eating, talking with my friend, and she and I brought up a show, I think, and this couple sitting next to us started talking to us about the show because they also love the show, which spurred into a deep philosophical conversation. And the show itself isn't even that rich in philosophy. It's just a fun show, but we immediately hit it off, and and it's just really amazing moments like that where every person that I meet, even if I don't see them again, is all a part of my journey. And I'm a part of theirs. And we can enrich each other's lives, at least in that moment, through genuine human connection and conversation. And that makes me feel so fulfilled as a person. So to be able to provide those moments for other people and for other people to provide those moments for me, in terms of expanding my worldview and helping me achieve what it is that I ultimately want to achieve, which is never going to be fully recognized because there's always room for improvement in what it is that I've set out to do for myself. But I just love it. I love being able to communicate with others. It brings me a sense of fulfillment that no material good could ever quench. Oh my gosh, I've missed a few. um, Hello from Norway. Big Eric fan here. Uh, Lila. Okay. Hello. Yeah, Eric is awesome. I had a great time reacting to him. I'll probably do more of him in the future for sure. But we are starting to really grind into the holiday season, so I want to start getting a few more holiday things from other groups and artists out. But we are going to definitely revisit Eric again. So thank you so much for being here. Um, should be perfect for a coffee snob. You're not the first person to call me a coffee snob, shockingly. Not shockingly. Um, like, I really like coffee. I can detect the notes of coffee. I know how to do coffee tastings. And when I go into cafes and ask baristas what the notes of the coffee are, I'm genuine in my question. I don't mean to be bourgeois or pretentious, but I don't know. It's how I like enjoying coffee, especially new flavors of coffee that I haven't experienced. So I guess you could say that I am, but I don't know. It's nothing that I really like promote or aggrandize. Um, oh, because I can't spell connoisseur. All good, all good. Um, can you become a franchisee? I could. I don't want to though. I would much rather have my own shop with my own blend of beans and have hire my own artists and create uh, my own brand. But that being said, I am fully aware that that is considerably more difficult. People have brand awareness of a product, so they're more likely just to go with all reliable more than experimenting with a new shop. Some of my favorite coffee shops that I've ever been to are hole in the walls that never have a wait, that hardly have any customers, that I'm shocked haven't gone out of business yet. Well, not that I think that they're bad. I think they're incredible and amazing in terms of their atmosphere, their staff. The coffee itself is just perfectly balanced. Like it's just incredible. And nobody goes there because they would much rather get their burnt coffee from Starbucks. um, but I completely understand why though. Like uh, Starbucks has created a brand. It's an image that you always think of when you think of I need coffee on the go. Starbucks, uh, and I don't blame them for that. And Starbucks has some pretty good things too. I remember when I was in college, a buddy of mine that I'm still buddies with to this day. I just haven't spoken to him in a while, but I should reach out to him. Anyway, he and I, man, how do I express this without sounding really messed up? It's the truth. Um, Back when I was drinking a lot in college, he and I would take a lot of the refreshment drinks that mixed so well with alcohol. And they also had carbonation machines back then, which tasted so good with what we were blending. Um, and plus the syrups add like it's essentially a dessert shop, honestly, with that tinge of coffee flavor, unless you were actually ordering real coffee, where people did, obviously, but the majority of the clientele that comes in wants their caramel macchiatos or their frappuccinos or pink drinks or whatever. So it always depends. But the morning shifts definitely get a lot of coffee before the afternoon, evening, night shifts, which are much more dessert focused. Let's see. Oh, brother, you got that right. Customers mad because 3 out of 10 didn't show up. Yeah, let me tell you, man. Like, not too long ago, I went to the market and there were 2 lanes that were open, and it was a very busy time. People were waiting, I want to say, like 20 minutes just to be able to start putting their items on the belt. And people were really, really mad, saying people just don't want to work anymore and all these things. And when I got up to the counter and started speaking to the cashier with compassion, I'm like, man, it's really busy. I really feel for you that you're going through this. And she said, we had 5 call outs today. Nobody could cover. And honestly, we're doing our best. So thank you for the kindness you're showing, because I've had to deal with a lot of negativity, and to know that I can provide that for someone means the world. But yeah, it's never as it seems. People always make the assumption people just don't want to work these menial jobs, or whatever the case is. But no, there could be any number of reasons as to why something's happening, even if it's improbable. It's a possibility, and you never know. Uh, I think I have seen you in Eric's GPC. I don't know what a GPC is. Let me look that up. uh, GPC. Genuine Parts Company. That can't be right. Let me look up Eric and well, GPC. Uh, what is this? Members only. Oh, okay. Um, I don't know, man. I mean, I just released the video the other day, so I don't know how I was in his thing, but if it is, that's awesome. uh, Probably will be wanting to be wide awake drunk at 6 a.m. New Year's Day. All power to you. Cheers. um, yeah. After college, I was able to stop drinking, and I have like maybe a hard cider once every 6 months now, but I was able to kick drinking, thankfully, and then I picked up a new addiction. And it wasn't until a few months ago, actually, uh, that I was able to kick that addiction as well. So one by one, I'm getting rid of my addictions, which is awesome. And I feel so much better for it. I've been working out so much more, and I've been waking up earlier. I've been being more productive. I've been getting the ball rolling in terms of my career, this side hustle, the opportunities to explore more of what I can do, what my limits and potential are, and uh, what my weaknesses are, how I can transform them into strengths, what more of my strengths are, and how I can transform them into specialties, and just keep learning new things about myself, keep evolving and growing. And boy, it's awesome. Like I'm finally not fully destroying my body anymore. And it feels great, man. uh, Bill the Bear and I worked at the Philadelphia Folk Festival as a vacation for 36 years. I can dig it. That's awesome. um, I am a gypsy. Ooh, that's interesting. Uh, a gypsy. I don't think I've ever met a gypsy. That's awesome. I mean, I've met in my life. I have met a pagan, a Nordic pagan, a medium, a time witch, a garden witch. And these are all things that people have told me that they like to categorize themselves as. And while I don't really understand the depths as to what each of these things necessarily means, all power to them for what they internalize it as. And however they choose to live their life is, you know, their choice. Uh, and all power to them, honestly. I don't need, and that's something else too. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I just want to make the point of you can engage with something that I have no idea what you do, and you do you. Just as much as I would like to be left alone, I'll leave you alone. You do you. um, and by me being left alone, it's more of when I go out and engage with people and talk to people, that's when I have the social space to do it. Many of you already know this, but I'm very introverted, and even though I make the case every single day to get out there and to talk to someone and to meet someone and to engage with society, it takes so much out of me. It is so exhausting, and it just kills me, man. but I love the process. I love the journey, and I know it's good for me. But it is so tough. So uh, so I love being left alone. If I'm not in that I need to socialize mood. um, so in that particular case, I don't need to know all of the depths and details as to what makes you uniquely you. Whether it's whatever you compartmentalize yourself as, or throw a label on yourself as. I like to see beyond that. I like to see not just these labels, but I like to see your actions, what it is that you actually do out in the world, and how it is that you navigate very complex emotions and moral dilemmas, and what happens when you engage with antithetical conversation. Or conversation that's antithetical to your own beliefs, rather. So it's moments like that that I really, really tune in for and pay attention to. So uh, so with all of those things, you do you. I'm happy that you're doing something that makes you genuinely happy, and nobody should judge that, in my opinion. Just as long as it doesn't like directly hurt someone else, obviously. Like, I know for me personally, something that I got into recently that's oddly very contentious. It's not oddly, I understand why, but I don't think it should be. Um, like, for me personally, and I've mentioned this before, I got into trap shooting not too long ago, which is where you take a shotgun and you aim it out at clay pigeons that fire from a box and you shoot them. They shoot outward, so you gotta track it, target it, and fire at it to break the clay pigeon. And I really love that discipline. It is so awesome. It's very expensive, so I don't get to do it a lot, but I really, really love the discipline. It makes me really happy to engage with it. And it was also something where I had a very negative perception of guns a while back. And when I started opening myself up to more of the world, I wanted to say, okay, I've never actually fired one. I want to understand what this is all about. And I did it. And when I thought, okay, I understand what kind of power this is, and with, cliche Spider-Man quote here, with great power comes great responsibility. You need proper training. You need a lot of awareness as to your environment, what it is that you're doing with your hands at all times, especially when holding the weapon and things like that. And I just started having a great time with it. I love the discipline. I hope to learn more disciplines like skeet or clay. So shooting clays more specifically. So it would be really cool to try those things. But for a lot of people, just the conversation of guns themselves is very very challenging for people to even engage with on a superficial level. So in those regards, I say that's okay. We don't need to go into the conversation at all. This isn't a conversation we need to have if it's not something that one person is necessarily capable of. So each person has their own thing. We don't need to go into it in order to appreciate each other's company, each other's time, and enjoy each other's company, I'm lousy at chess. My sister taught me when I was 9. I haven't played much since. I mean, I play on chess.com. Maybe not every day, but maybe every other day. And I am not that great. I'm probably like 1,000 elo. Excuse me. I recently beat a 1,500 chess bot after thousands of failed games. And I think I just got really lucky on that. I'm not great at chess, and I can't seem to learn from my mistakes. At least in chess. In the real world, I might be slow to the upswing, but I eventually get it. With chess, I'm just stuck. And I know that I can study a lot more and become better with it, but it's just not a pressing issue for me. I don't mind sucking at chess. Let's take a look. Is there going to be any music here? Are you talking about in the live stream? Because I try to keep these live streams more reserved for just being able to talk with the audience and just being able to hang out and have a good time. I was given the advice to have a live stream where I do music reactions, but I'm concerned about that because YouTube is notoriously known for dropping in, not all the time, but from time to time, saying, if you don't end the stream immediately, we're taking everything down. And that's just the headache that I really don't want to deal with. I know it's more rare, but I've seen it happen to many channels, even small channels. So it's not anything that I necessarily want to sully my hands with. So in these live streams, I just try to keep it chill and talk to you guys. I was referring to taking a break from doing the live streams during the next 2 holiday weeks. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not too sure about next week. I might cancel next week just because that's in the heart of holiday season. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I will absolutely keep you guys updated for sure. My daughter had a MIL with a small cafe in New Mexico, and they roasted their own beans weekly. That's awesome. That's awesome. There was a job I had where I got to work with a company called Stumptown. They originated in Oregon, but they have a roastery in Los Angeles. And I got to learn more artisan coffee from that roastery and the trainers at that roastery. And that was an awesome experience, and I loved it. Yeah, roasting your own beans, making your own blends of coffee, it's a lot more complex than people give it credit for. There's so much that goes into harvesting coffee beans. First, people think beans grow out of the ground, like the beans themselves, and beans are inside of the fruit or the cherry itself. It's only when you open the cherry that you find the beans, and the beans are green and they have layers on the outside. And when you remove each of those beans and remove the layers and actually start roasting it, that's when you get the more iconic brown color. And however long you roast it, whether it's blonde roast, medium roast, or dark roast, where the beans are being harvested, there's something known as the coffee belt, which is close to the equator itself. And you can harvest beans on volcanic soil, which can affect the taste quality, which is why Hawaiian coffee has a really nice, rich flavor. You can have really popular coffees would be either Guatemalan coffees or Colombian coffees. Those are probably the most popular, I think. Asian coffees are actually, in my opinion, underrated. I love Asian coffees. I think they're actually pretty well balanced overall. And they have a very robust flavor as well. It's not as pungent as, say, volcanic soil coffees like Hawaii, but I do think they're really, really good. So it all depends on where the coffee is roasted, how long ago it was roasted. Is it being distributed wholesale or by the bag? What was the harvesting process like? What was the roasting process like? How does the company take care of their beans, and how do they distribute them? There's so many factors that goes into it that essentially makes or breaks the overall quality of the product. And how does the barista prepare it, obviously. So, you got to take all of these things into consideration when you taste your cup of coffee. But again, I really love the process. I love making coffee. I love being able to engage with people in meaningful and rich conversation, rich dialogue, building good rapport with people, not just in a customer service setting, but in a one-on-one personal setting as well. There's really nothing like it, not for me at least. Um, I paid $6.05 this morning for a grande caramel macchiato at the Starbucks by the Walmart. $6.05. That's rough. Also, just so everyone knows, Starbucks calls it a macchiato. It is not a macchiato. A macchiato is this big. It's essentially a shot with a little bit of a little milk. It's something that I think is pretty underrated, at least in the region of where I live. I don't know how ordered it is in other regions that drink coffee, but Gibraltars or cortados, they're the same thing, which are essentially mini lattes. It's just espresso and steamed milk, but in specifically a Gibraltar glass, which is roughly that big. And it's you can get through it quickly. It's hot, it's fresh all the way through. It's affordable. The espresso is really good. It doesn't get diluted at all over time because you don't have a ton of the drink to get through. And it's simple. I love it. As someone who loves chocolate milk, my go-to drink in most cases would be something like a mocha in terms of espresso drinks. In terms of coffee, I just like coffee, cream, and sugar. Obviously not a ton of each, but a couple scoops, little bit of cream, it's nice, it's pleasant, it's traditional, it's classic. I'm not a really complex guy. I think deeply about the world, but overall, in terms of my tastes and how I engage with life, I'm not really that complex. But that doesn't mean to say that I'm not nuanced in my own ways. But in terms of coffee and what I order, I'm a pretty simple guy. But yeah, in terms of Starbucks, I think I read that they're going back to their roots. Sharpies again, where I am so appreciative of that. Stickers feel so lifeless to me. I love the customization and personal touch of knowing a human made my drink with the visual reminder of the Sharpie. I think that's huge. The fact that they're limiting their menu, they're making alternate milks free, I think, or at least more affordable. There's Starbucks is definitely going in a good direction. When they turned it more into fast food coffee, drove me nuts because you walk into that store, everything is made out of wood. It is so uncomfortable. They do not want you to be inside long. Where back in the day, it was definitely much more of a, you walk in, you set up shop, set up your computer, enjoy the vibes, enjoy the atmosphere, sit on a couch, and get to talk with people. But now it's just so uncomfortable and so dry inside. Not necessarily in terms of the air, but the atmosphere. And it just didn't feel good to be in there. So I'm really happy they're taking a new direction with the company. I'm really excited to see where it goes. Kicking addictions except your coffee addiction. Let me tell you. In terms of my coffee addiction, so I had a big coffee addiction when I was in college. I ended it. I picked it up again. I ended that. And then I picked it up again. And when I say I end it, it's more of I suffered the caffeine withdrawals for about 3 days. And then, oh, more like 2 days. That kind of seeps into day 3, but overall, it's fine. Um, and I just sleep through it. It's fine. Like, the nice thing about caffeine is I know that in comparison to the other addictions I've had, where when I was having an addiction um, with alcohol or with marijuana, uh, I genuinely couldn't believe that I could just end it. um, but with caffeine, time and time again, I know that there have been several months, there have even been years where I've gone without coffee, and I feel great. So I know that caffeine definitely isn't an addiction to me. I know that I can just say, all right, I think I've had enough coffee for right now. I just want to focus on doing this other thing. So I'll just stop coffee. I'll deal with the withdrawals for a couple of days. I'll get over it, and I'll just keep moving forward. Um, Whereas uh, with things like alcohol, it definitely felt much more like I need to have this. I need access to this. Where caffeine is more of this is a nice luxury, and I don't necessarily need it, but it's something that makes me feel good in the morning. It's something that I really love the smell of. I love the process of making it. There's no reason for me to necessarily not make it right now, um, especially since I'm getting discounted coffee. But um, if there's any particular reason why I don't need to make it or I shouldn't make it because I'm pursuing something else that would say no to coffee, then I don't have a problem giving it up. I've given it up many times and have had no problem getting through it. It sucks for a couple of days, but that's about it. Watched a music live stream Saturday that went south 6 times. Oh, I can only imagine how nightmarish that must have been for the creator. Um, Daniel, just found you here. Glad to catch a live chat. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you. Yeah, this has been great. Um, I've been loving this. This has been such a great chat. Very engaging. But we are starting to round out the hour. So we got a couple minutes, it's fine. But any last minute things? Are you going to sing a few notes for Hunter? um I'm not gonna lie, my throat has been feeling a little scratchy as of the last few days, and it's not like I'm sick or anything. This is like I got my flu shot, I want to say a week and a half ago, and ever since I got my flu shot, I've been waking up every morning with a scratchy throat. Nothing has evolved beyond that. The scratchy throat goes away after the first like 20 minutes of being awake. Might seep in a little bit throughout the day, but then go back. And there's no other symptoms. Like, I feel great. There's no congestion. There's no cough. There's no anything. It's just the throat, and it's a little concerning. Well, not really concerning. Like, it's not really anything that bothers me. I can work out great and still feel great, and I still feel great right now. But I don't know. It's really weird. So singing has always felt a little weird since that's happened. But but and I haven't even warmed up yet. So but I do enjoy singing. So let me think of something. Uh, Del empio che mi traste al passo estremo, qui attendo la vendetta. Udiste, io tremo. There you go, Hunter. That was the epitaph on the commendatory's tombstone in Don Giovanni. Giovanni orders Leporello to read it, and Leporello is terrified, so he walks up to it and he reads it. Dell'envio che me traste al passo estremo qui attendo la vendetta. And he's like, you see that, Giovanni? I'm trembling. He's such a lovable character. I love Leporello so much. And I doubt you're watching, Peter Barber. But if you are, I'm still absolutely open to be your Leporello if you want to do Giovanni. I would love to do Leporello again. It was such a great role to perform. Where are you? I'm in North Carolina. I do not currently disclose my locations, but well, I guess since I'm often on the move and I don't plan on staying in one place for ever, I guess I'll give a broad answer. I am in the US presently. Mainly because I would love to revisit Germany again. That was an amazing endeavor that I got to go on. And I just really want to visit more of the world. I would love to visit New Zealand, Spain, South Korea, the Philippines, China, all the places. Every single one. At least once. And obviously learn the languages of those places, at least in basic conversation. He's a happy kitty. Aw, that's sweet. In the lands of fruits and nuts. Yes. It's oh my gosh, what's that? What is Fruit of the Loom? I live in Fruit of the Loom land. Avoiding law enforcement? No, not necessarily. Law enforcement. I've had some really compassionate and amazing experiences with law enforcement and some very callous and somewhat malicious experiences with law enforcement. So to each their own. I have no issue with law enforcement. There are some people who obviously abuse that power, but overall, I wouldn't say that I'm avoiding law enforcement. No. Uh, I met Paul Newman at the mall when he was buying. Ooh. Um, you're a criminal defense attorney. Ooh. That's awesome. No, I have no. Well, to say I have no criminal record would. Well, I have a past. And that is the last that I'm going to comment on that. But I to leave a good note for law enforcement. Ironically, at a Starbucks, I met a cop when I was in high school, or not high school, college. and he and I got along famously. Uh, he was extremely considerate and kind. He was a regular at that store. He and I would just talk about odd things, random things. Like, I remember just a random conversation that lasted for 20 minutes about pastrami sandwiches. And it was wonderful. Um, that was also a really terrible time in my life as well. I was going through a lot and still figuring myself out. I didn't even think I was going to make it this far. And colleagues of mine were very concerned about me. So they ended up calling the cops on me because they didn't think I was safe being by myself. Uh, and lo and behold, he was the one who came to the scene, not even knowing it was me. He walked up to my car window, and when I got out of the car, he's like, "Oh dang, Daniel!" And we had a really long conversation, and he was concerned, and he gave me his best advice, and we just took it from there. He was a really, really considerate and compassionate man, and that was the last I ever heard from him. But I hope he's doing well. Um, but anywho, uh, relax, guys. I didn't do anything terrible. um, I'm not a hardened criminal, as you can probably imagine. uh, but you know, uh, there's we all have our life experiences, and life wouldn't be exciting if we didn't test the rules and bounds of the world around us. In my opinion, you know, when you're a child and you're testing your parents' limits, that's exactly what you need to do. You need to test them. You need to see what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, by gradually increasing uh, the actions, the behaviors. And then you decrease it and you see how much is too little, how much is too much. Where's that sweet spot of engagement with these people? Where's the sweet spot of engagement with society, with other people? And life is a constant adjustment. So it's just figuring all of these things out. And how are you going to figure all these things out if you don't test them? But constantly living in one particular field of life is very boring and dull to me. It's banal in that way. So I really enjoy being able to go out, test my bounds. Nothing that's egregious or terrible, but being able to explore more of the unexplored in my life is something that I really value. So, um, and I know that that is presented uh, in a way that is very nebulous, and I apologize for that. Um, but just know that I'm not going out of my way to do anything terrible, and I don't have many bad encounters with law enforcement, so everything is fine. I'm fine. You're fine. We're all fine. But with all of that said, we are well past the hour. Uh, Thank you guys so much for being here. This has been awesome, and I will pick up videos next week. It might be a little weird because next week is full holiday swing season. But I will send out community posts for you guys to say, hey, this is what's happening. And we'll just play it by ear, especially with the job picking up and everything. So again, we'll just play it by ear. Safe, happy, and healthy likewise. So with all of that said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening or day, wherever you are. And I'll catch y'all later. Have